Have you ever laid in bed at night, eyes wide open, staring at the ceiling, wondering why your body feels exhausted but your mind just won't shut down? You turn from side to side, the clock keeps moving forward, and with every passing minute, sleep feels farther away instead of closer. This is one of the most common frustrations people face today, and it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because your body and brain are out of sync when the lights go off. Millions of people struggle to fall asleep, even when they are physically tired. Stress from the day stays trapped in the nervous system. The brain remains alert, scanning for problems that no longer exist. Hormones that should drop at night stay elevated. Cortisol, the stress hormone, often remains high. At the same time, the chemicals that promote calm and sleep don't rise the way they should. This creates a state where your body wants rest, but your nervous system refuses to allow it. Sleep is not just about closing your eyes. It is a biological process that depends on balance. Blood sugar stability matters, mineral levels matter, neurotransmitters matter. When even one of these is off, falling asleep becomes a battle. That is why so many people lie awake even after a long day, even after exercise, even after avoiding caffeine. The problem is deeper than habits alone. Poor sleep is not harmless. When you struggle to fall asleep night after night, your body pays the price. Recovery slows down, inflammation increases, memory and focus decline, mood becomes unstable. Over time, chronic sleep problems are linked to weight gain, higher blood pressure, insulin resistance, and weakened immunity. This is not fear-based information. This is well-documented physiology. Sleep is when the body repairs itself. Without it, everything suffers. Many people turn to quick fixes, sleeping pills, alcohol, or heavy supplements. These may knock you out temporarily, but they do not restore natural sleep rhythms. In fact, many of them reduce deep sleep and REM sleep, which are the most restorative stages. That is why people often wake up groggy, even after sleeping for hours. The brain was sedated, not healed. Here's the good news. There are simple, natural ways to support the body's own sleep system. Not tricks, not hacks. Real biological support. Sometimes the smallest changes can make the biggest difference, especially when they work with your physiology instead of against it. One of these changes involves something very simple, very specific, and backed by solid nutritional science. Before the body can relax, it needs signals of safety. It needs stable blood sugar. It needs calm nerve activity. It needs the raw materials to produce sleep-promoting hormones like serotonin and melatonin. When those conditions are met, sleep stops being a struggle and starts becoming automatic again. That is how the human body is designed to work. In this video, you're going to learn about one small nightly habit that supports all of these systems at once. It's not expensive, it's not extreme, and it works by helping the body do what it already knows how to do. If you stay with me until the end, you'll also understand exactly why this works, how to use it correctly, and how to avoid the common mistakes that stop most people from seeing results. This is not about forcing sleep, it's about allowing it. What makes this so frustrating is that most people believe sleep problems start in the brain, when in reality, they often begin in the body. Long before your head hits the pillow, your physiology is already deciding whether sleep will come easily or not. One of the biggest factors is how your nervous system has been trained to respond to the end of the day. If your body stays in a state of alert, your brain follows, no matter how tired you feel. During the day, your body runs on activation. Hormones like cortisol and adrenaline help you stay focused, responsive, and energized. As night approaches, those hormones are supposed to decline naturally. At the same time, calming signals should rise. This shift allows your heart rate to slow, muscles to relax, and brain activity to soften. But modern life interferes with this transition. Constant stimulation, mental stress, late meals, irregular schedules, and poor nutrient intake all send mixed signals to the body. One of the most overlooked reasons people struggle to fall asleep is unstable blood sugar at night. When blood sugar drops too low during sleep, the body sees it as a threat. In response, it releases cortisol and adrenaline to bring blood sugar back up. This survival mechanism is useful during the day, but at night it becomes a problem. It can cause sudden alertness, a racing heart, and a feeling of being wide awake for no clear reason. Many people mistake this for anxiety, when it is actually a metabolic response. Another major factor is mineral depletion, especially magnesium. Magnesium plays a critical role in calming the nervous system. It helps regulate neurotransmitters that tell the brain it is safe to relax. It also supports muscle relaxation and reduces excessive nerve firing. Research consistently shows that low magnesium levels are associated with poor sleep quality, difficulty falling asleep, and frequent nighttime awakenings. Stress alone can rapidly deplete magnesium, creating a cycle where stress worsens sleep and poor sleep increases stress. Then there is the issue of neurotransmitters. Sleep does not happen by accident. It is guided by chemical messengers in the brain. Serotonin is one of the most important because it is a direct precursor to melatonin, the hormone that controls your sleep-wake cycle. Without enough serotonin, melatonin production becomes weak and inconsistent. This is why people may feel sleepy at odd hours or suddenly alert late at night. The body lacks the building blocks it needs to maintain a stable rhythm. Tryptophan, an essential amino acid, is required to make serotonin. Your body cannot produce it on its own. It must come from food. If intake is low, or if digestion and absorption are compromised, serotonin levels may drop. This does not always show up as depression. Often it appears first as sleep trouble. Difficulty winding down, shallow sleep, and waking too early are common signs that the brain is struggling to produce enough calming neurotransmitters. Aging adds another layer to this problem. As we get older, natural melatonin production declines. The nervous system also becomes more sensitive to stress. This means the margin for error becomes smaller. Small imbalances that were once tolerated now disrupt sleep more easily. That is why many people notice sleep changes even when their routines have not changed much. The body simply needs more support than it used to. What all of this shows is that sleep is not a switch you flip. It is the result of preparation. The body must feel safe, nourished, and stable before it allows deep rest. When those conditions are not met, the brain stays alert as a protective response. This is not weakness. It is biology doing its job just at the wrong time. The key is not forcing sleep, but removing the signals that keep the body on guard. Supporting blood sugar, replenishing calming minerals, and providing the nutrients needed for serotonin and melatonin production can dramatically change how quickly sleep arrives. When these systems are supported, the nervous system naturally shifts into rest mode without effort. This is why a small, intentional action before bed can make such a noticeable difference. Not because it sedates the brain, but because it supports the body's natural chemistry. When the body feels balanced, the brain follows. Sleep becomes something that happens to you, not something you chase. Final thoughts. When the body is finally given what it needs, the shift into sleep can feel almost effortless. This is where a single tablespoon before bed becomes meaningful, not as a trick, but as a signal. One simple food has been shown in both clinical observation and metabolic research to support the exact systems that struggle most at night. That food is natural honey, taken in a small amount before sleep. Honey is not just sugar. That is a common misunderstanding. Raw, natural honey contains a balanced combination of glucose and fructose, along with trace minerals, antioxidants, and bioactive compounds. This balance matters. The liver relies on glucose at night to maintain stable blood sugar while you sleep. If liver glycogen becomes depleted, the body releases stress hormones to compensate. This is one of the main reasons people wake up suddenly in the middle of the night or feel alert when they should be resting. A small amount of honey before bed helps replenish liver glycogen. This allows the liver to slowly release glucose throughout the night. When blood sugar remains stable, the brain does not trigger cortisol or adrenaline. The nervous system stays calm. The heart rate stays steady. The body remains in a state where sleep can deepen instead of being interrupted. This mechanism is supported by metabolic studies showing that stable nocturnal glucose availability reduces nighttime stress responses. Honey also supports the brain directly. It helps the release of insulin in a gentle, controlled way. This insulin response allows tryptophan to enter the brain more easily. Once inside, tryptophan is converted into serotonin and then into melatonin. This pathway is well established in sleep research. Melatonin is not something you force the body to make. It is something the body produces naturally when the conditions are right. Honey helps create those conditions. Another overlooked benefit is how honey interacts with the nervous system. Natural honey has been shown to support parasympathetic activity, the branch of the nervous system responsible for rest and digestion. This helps counteract the overactive sympathetic state that many people remain stuck in at night. When parasympathetic tone increases, muscles relax, breathing slows, and the mind becomes less reactive. This is exactly the state required for falling asleep faster. There is also the mineral aspect. While honey is not a high-dose mineral supplement, it does contain small amounts of magnesium, potassium, and calcium. These minerals work together to support nerve signaling and muscle relaxation. When combined with the metabolic effects of honey, they contribute to an overall calming effect on the body. This is subtle, but consistency is where the real benefit appears. What makes honey especially effective is that it works with the body's natural rhythms instead of overriding them. It does not sedate the brain. It does not suppress REM sleep. It does not interfere with deep sleep stages. In fact, studies observing sleep patterns have found that natural carbohydrate intake before bed, when done correctly and in small amounts, can improve sleep quality and reduce nighttime awakenings. Honey fits this profile better than refined sugars because of its slow, steady release. The key is the amount. 1 tablespoon is enough to provide benefit without spiking blood sugar. Larger amounts are unnecessary and may work against the goal. Timing also matters. Taking honey shortly before bed allows the liver to store and release glucose gradually throughout the night. This creates a stable internal environment that supports uninterrupted sleep. It is important to understand that this works best as part of a calming nighttime routine. Honey does not cancel out excessive caffeine, chronic stress, or constant stimulation. But when paired with dim lighting, reduced screen exposure, and a consistent bedtime, it becomes a powerful ally. Many people notice that their mind feels quieter, their body feels heavier, and sleep arrives sooner. This approach is supported by both traditional use and modern research. Honey has been used for centuries as a nighttime food, especially in cultures that valued restorative sleep. Today, science helps explain why it works. It is not magic. It is metabolism, neurochemistry, and nervous system balance working together. When the body no longer fears the night, the brain lets go. Sleep stops being something you fight for and becomes something you return to naturally. A single tablespoon may seem insignificant, but when it speaks the language of your biology, it can change the entire experience of falling asleep. How to use it correctly. Using this correctly is what turns a good idea into a reliable habit. The goal is not to stimulate the body, but to gently prepare it for rest. That begins with choosing the right kind of honey. Raw, unprocessed honey is preferred because it retains its natural enzymes, antioxidants, and trace minerals. Highly processed honey or artificial syrups do not offer the same metabolic or neurological support. The body recognizes real food differently, and that recognition matters at night. The amount should remain small and intentional. 1 tablespoon is enough to support liver glycogen without overwhelming blood sugar regulation. More is not better. Large amounts can cause unnecessary glucose spikes, which may lead to the very stress response you are trying to avoid. This is about stability, not stimulation. Think of it as a signal to the body that it is safe to power down, not a fuel source for activity. Timing also plays an important role. Taking honey about 30 minutes before going to bed allows the digestive system to process it calmly. This gives the liver time to store glucose and begin its slow release throughout the night. Taking it too early may reduce its effect, while taking it too late, especially right before lying down, may feel uncomfortable for some people. The body appreciates rhythm and predictability, especially when it comes to sleep. Honey can be taken on its own or combined with a small amount of healthy fat, such as a spoon of almond butter or coconut oil. This can slow digestion slightly and further stabilize blood sugar through the night. However, this is optional. Many people do well with honey alone. The most important factor is consistency. Repeating the same routine each night trains the nervous system to associate that moment with rest. It is also important to consider what surrounds this habit. Bright lights, loud sounds, and screens filled with blue light all send alert signals to the brain. Honey works best when the environment supports relaxation. Lowering lights, turning off stimulating content, and allowing the mind to slow down make the effect more noticeable. This is not because honey is weak, but because the nervous system responds to the sum of signals it receives. Some people ask whether this is safe for everyone. For most healthy individuals, a small amount of honey before bed is well tolerated. However, people with diabetes or significant blood sugar regulation issues should be cautious. While honey can help stabilize nighttime glucose in some cases, it should be used thoughtfully and, if necessary, discussed with a healthcare professional. Children under 1 year of age should never consume honey. These are well-established safety guidelines. It is also worth understanding what this is not. Honey is not a sleeping pill. It does not knock you out. It does not override the brain's natural processes. Instead, it supports the body's internal environment so that sleep can happen naturally. This is why the effects may feel subtle at first. Over several nights, many people notice they fall asleep faster, wake up less often, and feel more refreshed in the morning. The change is gradual, but it is real. Pay attention to how your body responds. Some people notice immediate calm. Others feel a gentle warmth or relaxation in the body. These are signs that the parasympathetic nervous system is becoming more active. If you feel jittery or uncomfortable, it may be a sign that the amount is too large or that the timing needs adjustment. Listening to your body is part of making this work. This approach fits well into a broader view of sleep as a biological process, not a moral achievement. You are not failing if you struggle to sleep. Your body is asking for support. When you respond with the right signals, sleep often follows without force or frustration. Over time, this small habit can help retrain the body to trust the night again. When blood sugar remains stable, stress hormones stay quiet. When serotonin and melatonin are supported, the brain relaxes. When the nervous system feels safe, sleep becomes a natural outcome, not a nightly challenge. Final thoughts. Final. When you make this a consistent part of your nightly routine, the effects extend beyond just falling asleep faster. Sleep quality improves, meaning the body can move more efficiently through all its restorative stages. Deep sleep, which is essential for muscle repair, immune function, and memory consolidation, becomes more accessible. REM sleep, critical for emotional processing and cognitive clarity, is also supported because the body is no longer fighting stress signals or unstable blood sugar. The result is not just sleep that comes faster, but sleep that truly restores the body and mind. Another powerful benefit of this routine is how it reduces nighttime anxiety without medication. When blood sugar remains stable, cortisol and adrenaline are not triggered during the night. This allows the parasympathetic nervous system, the part of the body responsible for rest and repair, to take over. Heart rate slows, muscles loosen, and the mind drifts naturally toward rest. People who previously experienced racing thoughts or sudden wakefulness find that these episodes diminish over time. The body learns to associate the small, consistent signal of honey before bed with safety and relaxation, creating a feedback loop that reinforces calmness every night. This small habit also interacts beautifully with natural circadian rhythms. The body's internal clock relies on consistent signals to know when it is time to sleep and when it is time to wake. Hormones like melatonin rise and fall in predictable patterns, but only if the body senses stability and safety. By providing the liver with glucose, supporting neurotransmitter production, and gently activating parasympathetic pathways, this pre-sleep habit strengthens these natural rhythms. Over time, falling asleep at the same time each night becomes easier, and waking up in the morning feels more natural and energizing. The psychological impact of this routine should not be underestimated. Sleep struggles often create a sense of frustration, which in turn feeds insomnia. By introducing a consistent, simple, and effective action, the brain begins to anticipate relief rather than stress at bedtime. This expectation alone can make the transition into sleep smoother. The act of taking one small tablespoon before bed becomes a signal that the day is complete, the body is nourished, and it is time to rest. This ritual reinforces a mental state of calm and readiness for sleep. Consistency is the key to long-term success. Skipping nights or changing routines frequently reduces the effect because the body relies on predictability to regulate hormones and neurotransmitters. By integrating this into a nightly routine alongside dim lighting, minimal screen exposure, and relaxation techniques, the body receives multiple consistent cues that it is time to rest. Even simple mindfulness or deep breathing exercises paired with this habit can amplify the effect, but the core support comes from the physiological signals that honey provides. It is important to recognize that improvement can be gradual. Some people may notice a change in sleep onset within a few nights, while for others it may take a week or two. This is normal because sleep patterns are influenced by long-term habits, stress levels, diet, and overall health. The cumulative effect, however, is profound. Once the body begins to experience stable blood sugar, enhanced neurotransmitter activity, and reduced nighttime stress, falling asleep becomes automatic, and the mind stops perceiving the night as a challenge. This approach also has practical advantages. Unlike medications or supplements, a small tablespoon of honey is natural, widely available, and generally safe for healthy adults. It integrates seamlessly into daily life, requires no prescription, and does not create dependency. Its effects are supportive rather than suppressive, allowing the body to regulate itself instead of artificially forcing rest. Over time, this builds confidence and trust in the body's own ability to sleep well. By focusing on the body's needs rather than attempting to control sleep externally, this routine addresses the root causes of difficulty falling asleep. It stabilizes metabolism, supports neurotransmitters, reduces nighttime stress, and enhances parasympathetic activity. All of these factors work together to transform bedtime from a struggle into a moment of natural transition, where the body and mind can finally rest as intended. Final thoughts.